Hamilton, and I will be your presenter for today, speaking to you about key skills that I think you need in order to be successful in the proposal management space. First, I just want to say a huge thank you to Bhaskar for the opportunity to be with you today. Bhaskar is a huge advocate for learning and helping people grow professionally, so I'm so very grateful for his support and encouragement today. Um, like you stated, I have been in proposal for about 6 years. I've recently joined an amazing firm, Cohn Resnick, which is a tax audit and financial services firm here in the US. And I'm working as a proposal specialist. I'd just like to shout out any of my team members who are joining today. Thank you so much for being here. And it's really important to have a great team beside you, and they make my work so much more enjoyable. So I just want to recognize them. This is not going to be a very process-driven lecture. You'll hear a variety of topics ranging from key resources that I use to make my job effective to managing people and personalities. And I really believe that in order to be successful in this role, you need to have a well-rounded background, which does include personal and career development. So we will talk about more what you could be doing for your personal development later in this presentation. Next slide. So just a few key housekeeping things here before we get started. This is the agenda. We'll be covering proposal management and what that is, resources that will help you in your role, key people that you should be engaging with, key skills that will enable you to maintain certain competencies, and what your future might look like if you decide not to stay in proposal management and explore other options. For those who know me personally, I am a huge advocate for career growth and continuous improvement. So I would be remiss if I didn't cover expanding your horizons in this presentation. And then lastly, we'll close with a Q&A and a fun little pop quiz. So next slide. Just a few disclaimers. This is purely my opinion, and it's very open to interpretation. There are certain requisites that come with, being in the proposal management space. But this is just my opinion of what has worked for me thus far. So secondly, a lot of my knowledge base comes from various different resources, and I will be citing them throughout the presentation as we go, because I just feel like you should show credit where credit is due. And lastly, my hope for you today is you take away at least one interesting concept or idea that will either help you grow personally or professionally. So next slide. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out with what proposal management is and who is responsible for managing proposals within a company. And here to define the role, we can describe it as the process of overseeing and facilitating the completion of a proposal. I should note, for those who are new to the field, proposals are in a response to a request for proposals, which is also known as an RFP. And proposal management includes planning the timeline, hitting send on the final proposal, and everything in between. If you've been in this role a long time, you know that we are responsible for so much more that is described here. But overall, we manage the process from start to end, and we also do the writing and editing of documentation. Next is who is responsible for this. So typically, large organizations have a dedicated proposal team. The department is usually led by a proposal manager, and they work with the team. Usually includes a proposal coordinator, a graphic designer, and various writers. And a proposal manager's sole focus is winning proposals. So really driving that revenue for the company. For small and mid-sized businesses, hiring a proposal manager is a luxury and might not be in the budget. So to fill a gap, some of those duties fall onto the individuals in the department. For some bigger companies and firms, this is not an issue, but in my experience, I've been in situations where resources were spread thin, so it required a great deal of effort to, share the motivation to really drive those projects over the finish line. And one thing I want to note is if you are starting out in this profession, that might actually not be a bad thing. not a terrible situation for you to be in, because it really helps you grow a thick skin and adopts the mentality that you're a team player, you can jump in and help when needed. But just to caveat that, I will say that you should absolutely know your worth and not become succumb to the grind that proposals can be, because your health and your happiness is number one and it's most important. So just wanted to say that disclaimer. Next slide. So the next two slides, I will talk about an overview of proposal management and what they are expected to do. These overviews come from two well-known and accredited sources, so you can be sure that this information was thoughtfully outlined. This one right here is an overview from Shipley. Much of these tasks you may do on a daily basis, but some that stand out particularly for me are the compliance matrix, schedule of critical milestones, and conducting a kickoff meeting. A compliance matrix is also known as shredding the RFP, and it's a great way to break out the requirements of the RFP so that each deliverable is clearly addressed. Once that's complete, you can share the matrix at the kickoff meeting. So I personally love kickoff meetings. It really allows a proposal professional to align with the pursuit team on all efforts required. And you usually discuss things like win themes, customer hot buttons, how to approach the client, what should be our discriminators, what are our competitors, what are they doing, and then you develop a clear action plan. So everybody is aligned, and inevitably there's less revisions through your writing process. Next slide. So this slide is from APMP and their body of knowledge. You should definitely join that association if you're not already involved with them. You can also get certified on different levels for proposal management. There's plenty of information on BASCAR's website if you're interested, or you can go directly to APMP. So here you can see that they have bucketed the capabilities into 4 different categories: information gathering and sales orientation, proposal planning, proposal and team management, leadership, and interpersonal. And I'm going to focus on 2 that are very prevalent to my role and what I've learned in the past few years that have been really valuable to me. Next slide. So the first is information gathering. I like to call it gathering intelligence, because it's really that. When you are approached with an opportunity, it's usually to win new business from a client. So therefore, you're essentially gathering new ideas and knowledge, which is intelligence. So this intelligence is seen by becoming aware of the client or the customer and getting to know their insights and their hot buttons. You can often find within the RFP, in the form of the requirements that they're asking for, what their hot buttons are. And then from there, you can take that to the pursuit team and talk about what solutions your company can offer them and why they would benefit from it, and highlight, why are your services so special? What can they get from you? That sort of thing. So a discriminator is something that you offer that's different from your competitor. So for example, you might be in the business, like my business, tax and audit, but what makes your company the rightful choice is your discriminator. So maybe your firm has X amount of serious years servicing a client in that industry. Maybe you can offer them your network of connections that maybe your competitor can't. So these are things that you would incorporate into your document. I suggest doing that up front, usually within the cover letter or your executive summary. This is also a great time to discuss the SWOT analysis and develop win strategies. So here you can see on this slide, typical SWOT analysis, what it looks like for the opportunity, and all of this funnels up into that information gathering capability. Next slide. So the second capability is proposal planning. This is pivotal to your success. And it's really the backbone of curating a winning proposal document. There are many different styles to what a proposal management plan looks like, but I do think it's a great tool to help you designate when deliverables should be completed, especially in that matrix you created up front. You can assign tasks to your team. You can set dates, deadlines, and it really keeps the entire team on track, really helps you stay organized. Um, and everyone can refer to it, if you save it in a designated area. We use Microsoft Teams in my company. It's great because everybody can just access it, go back to it, refer to it, maybe make some notes. So you can upload that to whatever platform your business uses, whether it's Google or Slack, anything like that. Right here is an example of a project management plan or a proposal management plan. You can access this, a copy of this, by visiting the website, RMR Consulting. Rochelle is amazing. She's a dear friend, also my coach, and she'd be happy to share that with you. Next slide. So lastly, we just want to finish out kind of this overview of proposal management with this section here. So this slide really shows kind of like a side-by-side comparison of the team contributions and expectancies. So as you can see, the proposal team is responsible for the overall process, strategic thinking and writing, which plays into that information gathering capability. And the proposal team leads the project management side of it too. You really need to come with a project management mindset to any opportunity. And we'll talk about that later in this presentation. And then for the pursuit team on the right-hand side of this slide, you can see what we kind of expect from them. We like to call our pursuit team subject matter experts, and they can really be delivering, so many different contributions. Accurate information up front is key. Providing context on the client, the industry, and all of this helps the writer develop a tailored response, and ultimately is the deciding factor on the strategy of the engagement. So you sometimes have boilerplate content information in your content library, but it's always good to have a personalized touch when you're writing your proposal. So getting that engagement from your pursuit team up front is pivotal. And you can really establish your authority by, creating those proposal management plans, creating those matrix, doing your due diligence, and coming to the table as the authority. So you are your subject matter expert in what you do, and they are too. And then together working collaboratively to, create that team synergy is really pivotal to this process too. Next slide. So now we're going to transition to key resources. I think you should invest in these key resources. I personally did, and they've been really influential in my career. I believe that in any role or position, you need to have someone that you can trust to go to for direction. So I like to think of my resources as trusted advisors. Having the right tools is necessary in order to build something, so you should have the same mindset when it comes to developing your professional career. So what is in your toolbox? So I've listed some of my trusted advisors, which I'm sure you've heard of at least for once in your career. I frequently visit these advisors when I need clarification or inspiration. The advisors that I have listed here have so many different resources on their website. We can go over that in the next slides, but you can see here, these are accredited, reliable sources. And so I definitely, just encourage you to go to their websites and take a look at what they have. Next slide. So, okay, when it comes to valued resources, I believe it's subjective to how you like to learn. For some people, books work. For others, they enjoy listening to something audible, and podcasts really enrich their, professional and personal development. So these are the four resources that I frequently engage with and invest in. So they are webinars, social media, books, and podcasts. Next slide. So this slide is really the best resources that you can invest your time and energy in when it comes to finding concrete information on something related to proposal management. So we kind of hit this before, but for webinars and learning, I typically join anything Fastgar puts out. So Baachu Scribble webinars, I mean, they're phenomenal. Shipley, Lupio, and APMP are also great. It's you could spend hours on their websites just trolling and looking up topics. It's really such a valuable resource. And some of them you do not have to pay for, which is great. The books that I own and use are textbooks. So those are the ones listed here. And you can also invest in books that are related to sales enablement or marketing if your role has those elements in it. But I own all of these books here, and they're just such a great resource to constantly refer back to where I just need to remember the basics. And all of these books here can be purchased on Amazon. So I don't know if that's helpful where you live, but you don't have to worry about going to a bookstore or anything like that. You can just purchase them on Amazon. Okay, and then social media is huge. I mean, LinkedIn is an excellent tool as a learning resource. It has been my go-to for everything. So we'll get into that later in the presentation, but I love LinkedIn. And then, oops, think about that. And then podcast, I just want to quickly go over that. You can stream these really on any platform, and it's amazing what you can learn on a podcast. I personally have developed so much just by listening to podcasts, and that information just seeps into you. You're kind of like applying it to your everyday life. And so these are the few that I really love. The hosts or the speakers on the podcast have ample experience in this field. So I highly suggest you, just following them if you do Apple, Spotify, whatever your streaming service is, go ahead and add these because I know you won't regret these. Okay, next slide. Yes, LinkedIn. So I love LinkedIn, and I can't speak highly enough. So leveraging LinkedIn. In my opinion, it's the best resource to leverage learning and your network. So you can use other applications or social media outlets like Instagram, TikTok. Yes, you can use those, but LinkedIn is really the place that houses it all. You could really grow your professional career by taking advantage of all the features that LinkedIn provides. And I personally wouldn't be standing here talking to you today if I had not created a LinkedIn page and started connecting with like-minded professionals. So my tips for you to leverage LinkedIn is join groups. You can join as many groups as you'd like in so many different subject matters. Following hashtags. I follow, for instance, proposal management hashtag. So I'm constantly getting things updated on my feed about anybody talking about proposal management. So you're always in the know. Virtual events. It's always great to connect with people, especially now. We're in such a virtual world and human connection is kind of sparse. So if you need that kind of connection and networking with other individuals, definitely attend a virtual event. And diversify your connections. Start adding people that might not be a proposal manager, but maybe have been and have moved on. It's really great to follow them and see where their career has led them, and follow what they're sharing. I just attended a great webinar from Catherine Bennett called Influencers Secrets for LinkedIn. And it was very, very useful. And she spoke about, growing your network, growing that community, leveraging what you have. It was a very, very beneficial webinar. So I highly recommend you checking that out. Next slide. Okay, so just continuing with LinkedIn, again, now, suggested contacts to follow on LinkedIn. This is my personal opinion, but these individuals have been pivotal to me growing. Um, for business growth, if you're looking to kind of get into that marketing consulting side, I highly suggest you follow Shanae. She's amazing, and she is the CEO of You Grow Club. Stephen Bartlett, if you're in the UK, I feel like a lot of people will know who Stephen Bartlett is. Entrepreneur, investor, so intelligent, so smart. Definitely give him a follow. And, he has a lot of insight into investing and business strategy. Stephanie, she does sales enablement. And when you're in proposal management, a lot of people move to sales enablement as, continuing the career. So she does a lot of digital adoption and transformation, and it's really interesting where sales enablement can put you. So highly recommend following her. Catherine, as we mentioned, a co-founder of Proposal Industry Experts. She is just in capture planning and all things related to proposal management. I could go on and on about Catherine. Rochelle. Rochelle is the owner of RMR Consulting. She is a proposal expert in the AEC marketing community. Rochelle has been such an advocate for me and is so intelligent and equipped to help you with anything related to proposal work. And lastly, Javier, he is a proposal expert. I recently found him, I would say in the last 6 months. He's great at all sorts of bidding and proposal work, so I highly recommend him as well. So next slide. Okay, so we're going to jump into non-proposal related resources I think you should have. So books. So we're covering things that don't typically fall under proposal management, but yes, this is great for your personal development. The first book that I am currently reading is Stillness is the Key. It's by Ryan Holiday. And this is really about clarifying your thinking and slowing things down to be steady when the world is spinning. That's really the essence of the book. Stillness can help you discover new insights and conquer your fears. I really like this book and I really like this author. Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. I might talk about him like several times within this presentation. I absolutely love Jay Shetty. For those who know me, he's been my obsession for a couple of years now. Just a phenomenal person. But this book really is a fantastic way at identifying who you are, clearing that negativity and fear, finding your purpose, and having gratitude. And the last book is a new one, Atomic Habits by James Clear. This will teach you a lot about that there are good and there are bad habits and how to create, better behaviors and better thoughts in your life. This one's pretty popular. Next slide. Podcasts. Okay, listening to podcasts is honestly one of my favorite pastimes. So you can literally listen to whatever you like and wherever you like, on a walk, working out. But these are my three that I feel like will really enrich you and develop you on a personal level. So each of these hosts have different guests from a variety of different backgrounds and professions. And I often find myself taking notes and mulling over what I've learned each episode. And every episode of these comes out, I believe, on a Friday. So I just find them so insightful. So the School of Greatness, On Purpose, and Diary of a CEO. So if you don't have these already, definitely follow them. Next slide. Okay, so this is also really important. We talked about how you can develop personally. These are just three quick things to think about. A healthy mindset really does impact you professionally. It's something that I've been continuously working on. And something to remember is your intention sets your direction. So, how you start your day is going to influence your day. So, think about it. What does that look like for you? You know, you want to go for a run? Do you want to read a chapter in your book? Do you want to journal? Do you want to listen to a TED talk? Just do something to start your day and influence it in a positive way. A great quote that I like is by Winston Churchill. The pessimist sees difficulty in every opportunity. The optimist sees opportunity in every difficulty. If you just keep rereading that, it really seeps into your brain and you see, okay, I really need to change my way of thinking and approach here. And then belief is power because belief drives your behavior. So what you believe in will power your life and it's simply control your mind or it's going to control you. Next slide. Key people. Okay. Let's talk about the key people I think that you should have in your corner. So in the last year, I have networked and connected with both a coach and a mentor to help me in my professional growth. So I think it's really important that you invest your time in finding at least one of these people, and it will help you grow in your current position as well as your future position. And there's a difference here. So a coach, you hire a coach if you don't have one already, and you invest in this coach because they give you a clear game plan for your professional development. Now, a mentor, you don't hire, you just ask. And again, you can use your LinkedIn and leverage your connections. Ask them to be your mentor, seek their professional guidance. They'll help you stay motivated, inspired, and you'll build your interpersonal relationships. Next slide. Key skills. Okay. So let's talk about the key skills that will help you be successful in proposal management. Again, open to interpretation, but I've listed the 5 that I find most valuable in my professional everyday life. They are project management, really mitigating risk and conflict, business writing, clear, concise writing, but persuasive, time management, blocking out your calendar appropriately. There's so many different techniques. The Pomodoro one is, you set your timer for 25 minutes and then you take a 5-minute break and you just repeat that over and over. It's also helpful to know that after an hour of staring at a screen, you really need to give your brain a rest. So just take 5 minutes to do something else that's non-related to work. Leadership. I recently took a webinar with Angie Wolf. She has a company called Ideas at Dawn. It was phenomenal. We can talk a little bit more about that in the next slides, but leadership is definitely a skill. And emotional intelligence, really navigating difficult personalities. And, not everyone is the same as you. So you really need to know how to do that, how to grow your emotional intelligence and be able to collaborate with people. And if you don't have this experience, just don't worry about it. Proposal professionals come from a diverse background, so you can kind of learn as you go. Next slide. So these are the 3 skills from what we just talked about that I think are like an absolute must for proposal management. Proposal management, I'm sorry. So project management, mitigating the risk and proactive planning, remaining agile and flexible, driving the timeline and the project deliverables, and being the hub of the information. If you are in this space and you are a proposal manager, specialist, coordinator, or writer, you can look at this and say, Absolutely. I do all of those things. And these key skills here can be applied to anywhere you go. Being the hub of the information is a little overwhelming. So again, I just encourage you to rely on your technology that your firm or your company has and really just work that system. We use Teams, it's great, it's instant collaboration, SharePoint, but whatever you're using, Google Suite, just make sure everything's organized so that people can get in and out of files. Effective leadership. So again, we want to be motivating, we want to be decisive. We want to be authentic as well. I think that's really important is stay authentic to who you are. Encourage a growth mindset, not only for yourself, but for your team. If you're overseeing a group of people, really want to encourage them to have a growth mindset and push them to be the best that they can be too. Delegate efficiently, take advantage of the help. Don't do everything yourself and ask for feedback. And then also our last bucket here, which is what we talked about before, emotional intelligence. Understand how the brain works. Emotionally handle stress. Consider the personality types and build rapport with your team. Use effective language and learn how to say no. If you can't do it, it's okay. Learn how to say no. I put a link because we're going to talk about that a little bit more in the next slide, but that was another amazing webinar, and it's titled Managing Proposal Teams Powerfully. Coworker and I did it, and we just learned so much, just how to navigate personalities. So we're going to talk about that in the next slide. Next slide. So here we're talking about the emotional intelligence. And this is why I really wanted to highlight this. Sometimes we really overthink things and, we get inside our head and, we really start spinning out of control and we're so overwhelmed. But really honing in your emotional intelligence skills is what's going to take you from here and beyond. So after I attended the Bhaskar office hour seminar on this, I had so many discussions with my team, and it really boils down to how we emotionally handle situations. And this is how we are working with our proposal teams. So sometimes when we miss deadlines or we're not following instructions, we're not reading the RFP, these like symptoms come up where you're overwhelmed and you're stressed. And so a lot of that has to be like slowing down and really methodically going through things. And it's sometimes hard to work with different people, but you have to learn how to navigate personalities and remain agile and flexible, like we talked about earlier. And there's 3 parts of your brain that manage situations and do completely different things. So without getting into this long discussion about neurological explanation here, just 3 things you should take away from this is the neocortex brain. So that's responsible for human language, problem solves, and thinks collaboratively. The limbic brain is responsible for the emotions, initiates fight or flight response if there's a negative situation, and responds emotionally. And the basal ganglia is responsible for reacting instinctively. So here you can see one thinks, one responds, and one reacts. So when we feel powerless, we start overreacting. We have these knee-jerk reactions. Now, sometimes when we're responding emotionally, it's because something's triggering us, maybe a memory, maybe something negative. And so you react and respond in a way that's really not, your best self. We can also take things very personally. It happens a lot. We've all been there. But learning how to be less reactive to situations and managing our stress really is pivotal to collaborating with your team. Because when we are stressed beyond belief, we stop listening, efficiency decreases, and it's just not good for the overall pursuit. So I did drop a link in the webinar for the webinar I mentioned. Highly encourage you, uh, to watch the replay, really dive into that. The speaker also identified the personalities, which was interesting about who are your team members? Are they delegators? Are they analytical? Are they detailed? Are they a driven person? Are they a thinker? And when you can identify the personality types on your team, you can really build off their strengths and work with them more collaboratively. And I really am a huge supporter of letting people be who they want to be and just being flexible and agile and working around them. You learn so much. Um, so yeah, hopefully this was helpful to anybody who's leading a team or collaborating. Next slide. Oh yes, this is like such a big conversation. Um, and yeah, so I want to talk about moving past proposals and expanding your horizons and what that could look like for you if you want to shift your career down the line. Where can you grow? That's such a good question. A lot of people ask themselves that. There's so many different career paths that you can consider if you do want to leave proposal management. Here I've just listed a few. You could be a consultant or a business owner. You can become an entrepreneur in a specialized industry like AEC. You could be a coach. You could do leadership coaching. I mentioned Angie Wolf. If you don't follow her already, go ahead and check her out on LinkedIn. She owns her own business. Digital marketing, selling or promoting products and services on the internet, ranging from technology to financial services. Sales and revenue enablement, collaborating with marketing and sales teams, very data driven, but ultimately optimizing business and operations. Business strategist, applying your passion for business analytics and forming client strategies. Love that. Product manager, translate your curiosity about a product and where its strengths and weaknesses are. I think that's really interesting too. So a lot of you might say, well, what are the tools I need to actually do this? Well, you can invest in learning, and we covered a couple of different avenues for you to do that. But also, the main tools that you need is a cover letter and a resume. Now, think of that as your personal proposal. So, when you're writing proposals at work, you're winning business, you're showing your strengths. You're highlighting, what is your discriminator? Why should they choose your company? Just do the same thing when you talk about yourself in your resumes and in your cover letters. Use these outputs to showcase your skills and sell yourself just as you would for a client, and leverage your experience as well as your soft skills. So those soft skills are going to be your leadership, interpersonal skills. Just talk about how flexible and agile you are. Show your background. Show how all of that is valuable and how that can translate to a new career path. And I did leave a little link there. Another great Zoom webinar for you to watch. I feel like I'm speaking to somebody on here who's thinking about making a change. And so right here, hopefully this slide will kind of encourage you to think outside the box, give you some hope that there is other avenues if you want to pursue that. Next slide. I think we're coming to the end here. Yes, so really that's what I have for you today. We are going to do a Q&A and then a quiz, but I hope you were able to take away at least one thing today that's going to help you in your proposal management career, and that you enjoyed your time. A lot of this stuff, again, is open to perspective, but, I like to not overthink things. I also want to encourage you to just do. Sometimes we overthink it and we think we're underqualified, but the beauty of proposal management is that so many professionals come from different backgrounds. And when you can just, whether you're seasoned or you're a beginner, this is a great space to be in. I think everyone is really encouraging. There's always someone to help you. definitely leverage your LinkedIn. Reach out to me. I would love to get you connected with some people that have helped me down the line in my career. So yeah, it was a pleasure to speak with you, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity, to be here. I'd love to connect with you. I did leave my information. I think it's on the next slide. So I would love for you to just like reach out to me, add me on LinkedIn. Um, there's my Instagram, there's my email. Please do reach out, and I can send you this deck if it's not provided to you, and also give you additional resources that were not provided in this. So yeah, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to send it over to Bhaskar to kind of close us out.
Thank you, Tori. That was brilliant. And again, everyone, I think it would mean a lot to Tori if you can kindly drop a message saying, "Well done, Tori," because it's a lot of courage for you to come and present. You know what? The people think you will need to. I did a presentation yesterday with the Liberty chapter. If you're free, go and watch it, because people take 15 years before they actually come and share their knowledge. But these days, friends like Tori, who are much, much younger than all of us, within 5, 6 years are coming and sharing their learning. It takes a lot of courage to come out and share. And I think I strongly encourage every single attendee, you should be on this side, presenting, and Tori and me will be on the other side, clapping hands and celebrating you. So please do take time to thank Tori. Tori, this was brilliant. And it's always good to kind of take a step back and then go through what are the skills, because as the world evolves, which I talked about yesterday, proposal management is a single activity with multi-dimension, right? And that's something that we need to be very, very mindful of, which I shared yesterday. Why is multi-dimension? And today you nicely laid off different things that touches and other things. So please do add your questions to Tori. And I also suggest you also drop a note to Tori, say hello to her in LinkedIn. And when we post, it will also be nice if you add some comments to Tori. So Tori, thank you for sharing. So any questions, please do add it in the chat before I open the Scribble quiz. So people always ask, the slides and the recording will be available, sent to you in the next 24 hours. So that's the standard question, which I've answered already. So question number 1 from, let me go. I think we have a question. Please do add your question. Let me answer, but I did, there was a question very early on. Do you have question, Tori, for the audience?
I would love to hear what everyone is using on their end for a resource. Did any of my suggestions help you? What are books or podcasts that you are currently using as a resource? Drop them in the chat. I'd love to hear what you're using and what you're enjoying right now.
Brilliant. That's a good show. Yes. The question is, what sources do you use to gather intelligence, and how much time do you spend on it, Tori?
Oh, it can come from a couple of different areas. Definitely going to the client's website. Google is your best friend. I know it sounds kind of simple, but really scouring the internet for anything that either the company has posted or something that's an article that was written about the client, and also contacting your client relationship experts within your firm or your business development teams, seeing what kind of knowledge they have on the client and what they can find as well. So working with any sort of sales team can definitely get you that insight. And then also just doing your own background work, kind of being just your little research and development hat on, and with those 3 things, I think it could help you get a good start on customer insight.
Nice. That's a good job. Thank you, Tori. Yes. So, question: do you and your team handle win theme sessions?
So we handle that usually on the kickoff call. It really depends on how involved you are in the beginning of this process. If you can get involved with capture planning, go, no go, and talking about win themes, even before you get to your kickoff meeting, I think that you add so much more value to what you're doing, and it just helps expedite the process. So it really depends on how involved you are.
Nice. That's a good one. Again, friends are sharing their podcasts and And resources, again, we all are different because we all are born different. We all put different cultures, process information differently. So you always pick up different inspirations from different people. And please do share anything else that's outside the proposal field. Please do share that as well, because we are curious. We are here to learn. I think Rachel has shared few. If there is anything else that you would like to share, you could share. But part of the teaching podcast here, we are going to do like Netflix type content going forward. So I will share that in the next few months, what we are planning to do on that. Again, coaching and mentoring, we already have done 300 people this year on the coaching mentoring on the senior leadership level. And we are pleased yesterday we had another 40 to the pool. So yeah, I mean, it's all from you, and please do keep things flowing. And any other questions? Bhaskar asked a question about my initials RP. Oh my God. You guys are so interactive today. I'm bored. So let me go and find any other questions before I find RP. RP, I'm really sorry. I'm scrolling it.
I love all the suggestions. Thank you to everyone who's putting that in the chat.
Yeah.
Oh, the Korean vegan. That sounds really good too.
Right. Let me open Rita. Rita, you can ask the question. I'm just opening you. I'm allowing you to talk, Rita. I think you can ask the question straight. Unmute yourself, Rita, and then you could ask the question. Otherwise, it's going to take a long time for me to find.
Bhaskar, I already asked the question about the wind theme, so I'm all set. But I do have a question since you opened my line. First of all, thank you so much for this wonderful presentation, Victoria. It was amazing. Thank you. I have one question though. How do you manage proposals that are coming in from, say you have one proposal you're working on, and then of course the client, another one the client extends, and another one, it's time for the orals presentation. How do you have a management system, or how do you handle those situations?
I think it's good to, number one, rely on your team to help you through this too. So if you can reach out and get help, you can simultaneously work on all of these projects. Number one is when are they due? If they all have short time horizons, they're all say due within the next 2 weeks, I know that can be stressful, but reach out to your team and ask for help. You don't have that luxury. It really comes down to when you're developing the orals coaching or any sort of presentation, look into your content library, see what kind of boilerplate information you have, get that in there first, and then start tailoring it. Don't reinvent the wheel if you don't have to in these situations. And notify whoever are the powers to be above you too. Say, I am just so stressed with this. I have all of these deadlines. I really want to dedicate the time to them, but this is a little stressful right now. What could we do? How can we, divvy up the tasks here in order to meet all these deadlines? And I think once you just start thinking it pragmatically like that, you can kind of look at when everything is due and look at it in a more like top level. When we're in it and we're so stressed, we're like, I can't get any of this done. But really reaching out and helping, getting the resources that are around you to help you is really pivotal to managing all of your deadlines. So that's really where I start. And make sure you have those project management plans in place, because they really help.
Thank you, Tori.
Thank you so much, Victoria.
Yes, RS, I found your question. Thank you. What do you find the most interesting about your role as a proposal manager? That's a beautiful question. I don't know who is RS. If you can type your full name, I can call you with your proper name, if that's okay. Thank you. So what do you find most interesting about your role as a proposal manager, Tori? And also, audience, if you can, if you could also type that answer, that would be great. What do you find most interesting about your role as a proposal manager? You could also add in the chat, but in the meantime, Tori, what do you think?
Oh, I think it's working with people. I think understanding people, working with so many different personalities. If you're lucky enough to work in a firm or a company where you are in different pursuits with different teams, it really just helps you grow personally and professionally. It really does. I think that's the most interesting part because you could be writing about the same services, but each team brings a new perspective, and it's just always encouraging to get to know that team, learn a little bit more about where they're from, or build those relationships with them. I don't know. I'm a Sagittarius. I love people, so I think that's the best part of what I do is just connecting with others.
On horoscopes, nice. I hope that was and if again others, what do you love about being a proposal manager? Because again, now for me, what fascinates me about proposal is when the proposal comes to life, when the proposal moves away from being a document into a building, into an infrastructure, into a people, some staff. That's what fascinates me. So I go and touch the building. I go and sit in the police car. I go and sit in the immigration center. I go and sit in the prison. Go and sit in the hospital. Let's say, hey, this is the proposal I priced. It fascinates me. You know what? So what are you? What kind of the most interesting thing for you? So that's the one. And someone interested. This is from Arun. Arun asks, someone interested in exploring writing opportunities within proposals. What are your suggestions? I didn't. Did you get that question, Tori?
I don't see that.
Yeah, as someone interested in, Arun, I'm opening you so you could talk. You could ask the question now, Arun. What? It might be easy for you to talk it.
Yes, Bhaskar, thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
Hello.
Yes, Arun, ask the question, please.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you, Arun. Can you hear us?
Perhaps maybe type it in the chat. Maybe that would be easier.
Might be easier. Okay, while you type on the chat, let me open up any other questions. Please do put it on the chat box, so I will pick it up. Yes, you are audible, Arun, but hopefully.
Yes, Bhaskar. So my question is like I'm working in a proposal thing, but somewhere I felt that I want to explore the writing bug that I have. So what are the different things? Like I see that there are editors, authors. Beyond that, what do you think writing opportunities are there?
So the question is, what are the writing opportunities outside the proposal field or outside your job? Is that what you're asking for?
Within proposal, let's say. I am not looking outside. That will take me to a different space altogether.
Right.
That's a good question. Writing really takes you to, different industries. For me, I started out in engineering and construction, actually writing requests for proposals. So not answering them, but writing them, which was really interesting. And I also then dabbled in writing like engineering specifications and doing technical writing. So your writing interest can really lead you to so many different areas within proposals. So you could be writing the RFP or writing a response to it. And you don't have to stay in a certain industry as well. Like I moved around so many different times. Now I'm in tax and audit, financial services, and I never thought that I would be here today in that industry. So it really can take you anywhere you want to go. Just keep practicing, keep honing that skill, clear, concise writing, persuasive writing. And some of those suggestions that I presented today, go through those websites and take advantage of the free courses that help you become a better writer.
Brilliant. That's a good one. Thank you, Tori.
Thank you, Victoria.
I think, just write it up. You could write a blog for us if you want.
Yes.
We publish like 20 articles a month. I think there are 2,000 articles within Baachu Scribble. We were just trying to categorize them into proper buckets now. Feel free to contribute. So, and also it's beautiful to see how people thoroughly enjoy a proposal career. I think, thank you for sharing. I didn't have time to look through everything, but I'm seeing one or two which kind of relates to me really well, especially the last one by Jamie. That's beautiful. So, Scribble quiz opens now. So 3 questions. Whoever answers, always have anybody who tries gets an access to the learning resource anyway, but anyone who gets it, firms up your position. So question number one, this is a fun. In the very first slide, in the opening statement, Tori used a bullet point, which wasn't a bullet point. It was something else. What did Tori use in the opening statement? She had 3 points, and the 3 points, she didn't use the traditional bullet point. She used something else. Yes, it's a tough one. But
Glad you noticed that, Bhaskar, because I really enjoyed putting that in there, actually.
nice work. It's Apple. Yes, well done. Diamond, Nicole, I wish. Yeah, sorry. Colored boxes. No, it was it was Apple. So while Tori was talking about proposal planning, she uses the word proposals require team what? Team, what's the last word? And that's a very powerful word. Proposals require team. What's the last word in that? Getting close. Oh, Nicole, it's synergy. Yes, it's Nicole Sims who won that. Again, I don't need to save this because this is the longest we ever had, Tori. So you've got a lot
Of course.
So question number 3. There was a quote done by Winston Churchill. The quote said, pessimist sees what in every opportunity, an optimist sees what in every opportunity. Okay, what's the second one? The first one is difficulty, yeah? Yeah, that's it. Again, that's an opportunity. So again, that's it. Again, if there is one thing you could get away from this, is this one. You know what? You could stay and say, hey, what do I know? How do I share? You know, it's, you know, literally Tori broker barriers here, you know, because it's important, you know. So that's a good quote, and please do take it with you. And again, the last one, because we still have a minute, last one, the brain. Thank you for trying. Thank you for trying, everybody. Thank you. So the last one, part of the brain, there are 3 different parts, as you always know. The neocortex is the thinking one. Which one did Tori said that normally is the part that used for reaction? Which one?
Oh, this is a good one.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Yes. They were pension. I'm so happy and so proud of you, everyone here. Wow.
Yeah, I think I am impressed. They are
So impressed.
they're listening. Their attention span is beautifully increasing. I know exactly, because, you know, we always get a group of friends who join every week, and I'm always impressed. I try to make it harder and harder, but they always that's a nice one. And thank you everybody for joining. I think this was useful. Again, if you found this useful, you know, I will share it, quiz winners tomorrow. And then please do share your comments. Please do share your love and support. Thank you so much. I think that's brilliant. You know, I hope you enjoyed Tori's presentation. Thank you everybody who joined the Scribble quiz. I hope that was useful. And next week we have another Hamilton, but the Hamilton is not from the States. This Hamilton is from South Africa. So we are going to talk about, let me pick it up. We are going to talk about, what are we going to talk about? We are going to talk about the persuasion, the art and science of winning proposals. I think Isain from South Africa, Isain Poet Hamilton will be talking us through next week. Join in using Dr. Tom Sands. I know many of you have referred Dr. Tom Sands. You know Dr. Tom Sands, father of proposal automation. I interviewed him twice, find his story. 1989, he did the proposal automation. So what you're going to find now is 30 years down the line, people are still talking about it, which he did way back in 1989. So we have Isain going to talk about persuasion, the art and science of winning proposals next week. You're going to find all this information in our Baachu Scribble /live workshop. The upcoming episodes are also going live. So again, as a request, if you do want to come and talk, this is a friendly group, as you know, come and try, come and experiment. It's okay. We'll work it through. So Tori, hope you enjoyed it. And thank you very much for everybody for joining and sharing. With that, I stop the recording. If there is anything else, we can talk offline.